A Cuppa Joe Nintendo is powered by the You, Me, and Capri Patreon. We want to say thank you to some people, starting with our Diamond executive producers, Slimer Snarf, Lee Navarro, and Jonathan Brown. Also, our Platinum producer, Robbie Bobby Miller. And then to our gold level patrons like James Johnson, Gene K, Skinny Matt, Ashley Nicholson, Aaron Gropper, Trucker Sloth, Argo, Ryan Turford, Egg Shen, and Ray Sony Pony Martinez. Thank you everyone for all of your support.
Sean.
Bobby.
You know what, man? It's been a while since I got excited about something. Mm-hmm. But listen, man, I can't say a lot, obviously. But I talked to my former boss yesterday, and still a friend, right?
Yeah.
Jules Watcham. Some exciting stuff's coming, man. Some exciting stuff is coming, and I think people are gonna be very happy. That's all I can say. You know.
Well, you and I are both Kickstarters, I guess, of what is it now? Hatch Tales. Chicken Wiggle on the 3DS.
Yes.
We both played that game on the 3DS.
You reviewed it. You reviewed it for We the Gamer. We the Nerdy. Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of us were able to get our hands on that one. That was that must have been one of the last platformers I played on 3DS.
Yeah.
All those years ago. It's probably that, and then I probably put it away thinking I was going to get back to Hey Pikmin, or I don't even know, EverQuest, or Ever Oasis is the other one.
Yeah.
PC game from forever ago. I still want to, man. Like Lincoln's playing he's in the other room playing his 2DS right now, playing Animal Crossing and watching Pikmin or Puffin' Rock on Netflix. So he's all about that. But dude, he is in love with Super Lucky's Tale.
Really?
Super Lucky's Tale. He every time I turn on the TV, he's like, play the red fox. I'm like, well, it's an orange fox, but it's fine. Like, you get your colors. Well, I can see how maybe it's like a reddish orange, just blood orange kind of thing.
Kid knows every planet in the solar system. Don't know his colors. You're doing real good over there, Sean.
Oh, trust me. Just this is where just the disappointment sets in, right? This is where the father's and the son's guilt. It starts with here. But the thing is, like, it's magical, man, because like I'm really liking this game quite a bit. Like he's kind of encouraging me to fire it up, and I'm playing it, and I'm like, am I actually like enjoying this like for real, or am I just playing it because like this is something I can get away with playing with a kid in the room? But I'm actually enjoying it, man. Like I didn't love the first one, and this is so I don't want to get into like the mechanics of it too much, but I actually kind of wanted to chat with you about something that always strikes me anytime I play a platformer that's not Mario. Mm-hmm. It definitely hits me when I play Sonic. It definitely hits me when I play a bunch of other games like Crash and things like that. And I'm like, what is it about a platformer? Like, what makes a great platformer, right? Like, because Mario's it. Yeah. Mario's the standard, but do we have room for other platformers? And I always wonder that every time I play a platform. I'm like, what is the magic sauce? What do I enjoy about other games that are platformers?
The only game, to me, that I felt comes as close to Mario is Rayman.
Yeah, good point.
I don't feel any other game. Sonic definitely doesn't come close at all.
Right.
Or Crash does not come close at all. Donkey Kong Country doesn't even come close. And a lot of what Donkey Kong Country is because he's wobbly. Yeah. It feels like he's on skates, more or less.
Yeah.
Yoshi's probably close, you know, but Yoshi's also very easy at times. It doesn't ramp up where Mario will ramp up consistently and get harder and harder as you get towards the end. The one thing about when I played Super Lucky Tale, I wasn't a huge fan of the 3D, but the side-scrolling, dude, I loved it. And I even said, because Toby and I did like a conversation video on it like months ago. And that's the one thing we said, like, I want this team to go make a 2D side, like, or a 2.5D, because they do that 2.5D very well.
You go back and forth, you kind of go into the background, the foreground, etc. Yeah, totally. Well, and that's the same thing with like Yooka-Laylee, right? Because I find myself with these, especially these mascot type of platformers, and there's definitely like a difference between 3D and 2D. And this one, I'm like, I don't know if this is reminding me of like more of like a Spyro. Like it's definitely easy, but I don't know. Like maybe it's just like part of it is like how good is the camera? Like, are the collectibles, do they actually make sense, or is it just like, Are they everywhere? Are they impossible to find? And I think part of it too with this game is that it is definitely made for kids. So I'm easily finding like all the, you spell lucky, you find all the letters and everything like that. And you find like a hidden page and it's pretty easy. So maybe part of it is just that I'm doing okay with it. But it's interesting. Like I like the character design, which is something that I didn't love. That's one thing I held against Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, even though I felt like that was a way better iteration of that franchise than the first one. I just don't like the character design. I think is a huge part of it. Like he's a cute little fox.
He's amazing. He really is amazing.
Even though he looks like Tails.
I know, but I loved him, dude. I loved playing that game. I felt like that game really did it well. I felt like they really hit a home run with that game. Seriously.
Yeah, it feels tight. I like the double jump, and there's a little spin you can do. Like you can get to places, and the camera seems to be okay. So it's just kind of like it's been weighing on me a little bit. I mean, for always, and especially as we're critical about games, like what makes a good this type of game or that type of game. And it's like, does Mario just get a pass because he's Mario? But I'm like, I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Mario gets
gets
a pass. Mario gets a pass because the controls are tight. Like they are like you stop, it stops. It's like you go, it goes. Like it just hits everything. You hit jump, he jumps. There's never a lag. There's never a little lag. It's always spot on.
And it's not that like it gets a pass. It's just that you don't even think about it. I guess is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Like you just don't even. You're not even thinking like, is this good or bad? It's just like it's Mario, so it's great. And it just seems to be. It's kind of like Call of Duty, I guess, in that way. Like that's how shooters should. There's certain games that like set that standard of how a certain game should feel.
Absolutely.
So, and then I guess like does it overlast or don't overstay its welcome? So I'm not sure how long this game is going to be, but I'm kind of hoping to just kind of complete it and finish it and be done with it. Well, but I wanted to go back to Spyro had that remaster. I don't know if you ever played the Spyro games.
No, I've never played Spyro games.
Because they were on PlayStation, so I never had it. But when they did the remaster, I thought they were pretty good. So
Ratchet and Clank does a pretty good job.
Oh, good one. Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Like they do a pretty good job with the platforming controls. Like I played that on PS4, and that was a good game. It was a really good game.
Weapons on that too.
Yeah. The problem with that game was the final boss just ramped way up out of control.
Yeah, totally.
And it was
I think I racked down the difficulty on that one too.
I had it on normal, I think, and like it was just like, dude, how does this get so hard? I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny. You have a good memory for that kind of stuff.
Sometimes,
like I wouldn't have recalled that like unprompted.
Yeah.
But as soon as you mentioned, it, I'm like, oh yeah, that was kind of crappy.
There's a rumor, as there's always a rumor every single day of every single month of every single year.
I can't believe we just don't talk every week about the rumors.
We probably could.
Probably could.
But there is a Nintendo Direct rumor for this week, this coming week. And I don't know whether it's true or not, but the thing is like I think it's just people are so hungry for something. And I think for me as a DC fan, watching this parts and pieces of this DC fandom that went down yesterday, like
it's good.
I'm like, I want a Direct so bad because it's like comic book fans Nintendo Direct, and the stuff that's coming out of that is unbelievable.
Yeah, man.
You know, movies, comics, television, video games, like everything. Games. The games are just unbelievable that are coming out. But that being said, you know, it makes me think, like, I can't wait for the next Direct. Because I can't believe at all that Nintendo, this is all they have. Yeah. There's got to be more. There's got to be more to it.
So it's funny, I went on Twitter last night, and I just need to, like, clear my feed out a little bit. Like, you know, unfortunately I had to unfollow some people and things like that. And I'm, like, clearing things out of, like, who's saying stuff that just, like, kind of strikes me the wrong way, or who have I heard from in a long time? And somebody I haven't heard from in a long time is Emily Rogers.
Yeah.
And I was following her, and she has protected tweets where I'm pretty sure you have to follow each other in order to see her stuff. And so I unfollowed her and then realized, oh shit, probably shouldn't have done that because I don't know if I have to request that back. Yeah. Anyways, the second after I refollow, and I have a whole issue on Twitter about this, that I mute and block people or whatever, unfollow them, and then I see their stuff immediately afterwards. But in this case, it was a positive because our good friend Alan Paxton retweeted something that she had just said. Apparently she just like came back to Twitter the moment I unfollowed her, and she was talking about like the timeline that Nintendo had for this year, which was going to be a little bit quiet. I think Donnie Reese has been kind of hypothesizing about that as well. And I think Pikmin was supposed to be much earlier in the year, and then it got pushed, and then that kind of pushed everything else out to maybe next year. So whatever was supposed to be in the October spot was supposed to be coming in next year. I don't know if you've heard anything about that.
No, I haven't heard anything about it at all. That's great. I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Because of COVID, everything just got pushed out.
I mean, that's the way it is with everybody. Like, everything. Like, to me, you know, we talked about this before. I don't understand why they're even launching consoles this winter. Like, just push them.
Because they said they would. That's pretty much it.
And I think that's all it's about. But does it hurt them to go, you know what, guys, we're not ready for this? Like, you're literally delaying. I was on co-op mode this week, and I was talking to those guys as well, and I was like, you're literally delaying your big game for your console, Xbox. Why not just push the console? Like, why are you on this collision course with a wall? It doesn't make sense to me. You know, it's like, just it's not admitting defeat by saying, like, hey guys, this pandemic
you
really
don't think
has
so? Like, only if one did. If both of them did, then they would be like, okay, everybody gets it.
Yeah,
but if one does, then it just opens the door for the other one.
But I think everybody understands the pandemic and just go, hey, we want to bring you the best we can. And right now, because of delays in games and all, we're not going to bring you the best we can. So we're going to push the launch to 2021, and that's just what's going to be, and be done with it. Like, I don't understand, because you know what it is? Because these people are so wrapped up in their heads that holiday has to be a launch.
Yeah.
You watch,
even though Nintendo's already proved that
you just watch Nintendo knock your doors in with what they did in a March launch. Like, why would you not go, you know what, we're just going to push it and we're going to put it in March. Done.
Yeah.
I mean, to each their own. It is what it is. But for me, I would be like, I got to back it down a little bit. You know, I'll be the one that blinks. It's fine. Yeah. But, you know, I just don't understand where the whole mindset is ultimately where this stuff is. But
well, then you have to wonder what other games are coming out around that time too. So like, there are games that are ready. It's just not for, like, the first party stuff is just going to be kind of strange, right? Like, there's and as usual, Ubisoft is right there, right out the gates. Like, all their stuff that's happening out this fall is going to have a better version for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. So there's that whole thing. And then the other side of it too is that there's very like, the rumor for Xbox is that they're going to have a really inexpensive console coming out, $299 for the Series S, not nearly as powerful as the Series X, and like, that could be a serious mover this holiday. So it's just like, get people in on Game Pass, get people buying that Series S, and that's kind of like maybe why they wouldn't back out or back down at this point. It's just something they don't even know yet.
It's possible, but for me with Nintendo, it makes sense now. Like, maybe they were. Maybe for them, the fortunate thing was, I mean, it's bad to say that they got good luck out of a pandemic, but I feel like of all companies, Nintendo's been the company to kind of benefit from this pandemic with Animal Crossing, and now if they've had nothing to really launch, they could just stay quiet and just be like, hey guys, we're having a pandemic, and it is what it is, and we're not able to produce as quickly. Like, it's causing delays.
Yeah, I can't believe. Is that thunder in the background?
Yeah.
Holy cow, man!
Was that loud or what?
Right on top of you. Oh my gosh! Hope you're okay. Do you have to like get under your stairs or your table or something?
Nah, we're good. We're all.
I don't even know what you're supposed to do.
We're all good. We're fine.
So, well, Emily Rogers was saying if COVID hadn't happened, the first half of the year would have had almost no gaps. She said Tokyo Mirage Sessions in January, Animal Crossing in March, Pikmin 3 was supposed to be April or early May, Xenoblade in May, Clubhouse in early June, and then Paper Mario in July.
Okay.
But because Pikmin got moved out of the original slot to October because of COVID, which is interesting that that's the only one that really got moved. The Xenoblade and Clubhouse and Paper Mario, I guess, you know, April's really when that hit.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of makes sense.
But what else is there that's the thing. What else out there is there? And we've heard these rumors about Mario's 35th anniversary in this Mario game, but like, they haven't even talked about it.
Yeah.
And
maybe that's this week, man.
Well, the 27th is Mario's 35th anniversary.
Yeah.
So that's this week.
Oh, okay.
So could it be?
It's so funny that because doesn't it seem like really hard to lock down these anniversaries? Because like, who knows even when some of these games are originally, like, especially if you go that far back.
Yeah.
It's like, which anniversary is it? The North American one?
Well, it's usually Japan.
Japanese?
Usually it's Japan. You know, like, if they're going to celebrate a major milestone, they would do the Japanese version first. You know, of everything. But Dude, I can't wait. I hope that something happens this week. Mm-hmm. It would be phenomenal if it did. But I guess we'll see. What happens ultimately.
Well, they better do something quick because I don't know about you, like there's a couple of people on Twitter. I think Joey Ferris was showing something on Twitter that he was going onto his Wii U eShop and started to buy up games there. I'm like, maybe I kind of want to do that. Like I've got the Wii U kind of plugged in anyways, and I might want to fire up some of those games. And I've been playing this Fall Guys on PlayStation, and it doesn't have inverted controls, Bobby. So I feel like I'm learning how to play not inverted. Maybe I go. Don't listen.
Here comes this guy.
Get this tone every time I bring up inverted. This is good news. This is where you can actually stop being a begrudgy, grumpy old man about it. I'm trying to tell you that I might be learning how to play not inverted because of this Fall Guys game.
Can I just
maybe I go back to Wind Waker.
Can I ask one thing? Why do I get accused of being grumpy because your brain is broken and you can't figure out how to play games?
I'm just saying, you just get. I even say the word inverted, and it triggers this like, oh, here we go. Like, just listen to what I'm trying to tell you right now.
Well, I want that game to come to Switch, man. And
I know. Chelsea was just saying that.
And the developer did say that they want it everywhere. They just need to work on the bugs, and then it'll start branching out. This week, apparently, the patches will be out for it. And then hopefully
inverted controls, by the way.
Oh, good God! Anyway, but I'm hoping that with that, they then go, okay, now we're focused on Xbox and Switch because I want to play. I just don't feel like hooking up my PS4.
No, for sure.
I don't want to hook up my PS4. Plus, you gotta pay.
I understand.
I mean, I would have to buy the game, which is fine. I don't care about. I'll pay for the game, but I don't have.
The thing is that in order to play online, you need PlayStation Plus, and it's a PlayStation Plus game. So just get PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, but it's $70 for the year.
Yeah.
The game's not a $70 game, is it?
Well, but that's the thing. But you still need PlayStation Plus to play.
I know, it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
I get. That's why I don't wait for it on.
But that's why I don't want to
be a monster on Switch, man.
Oh, it's gonna be huge. It'll be like Fortnite all over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that might be it. Yeah, just get it like not that Fortnite wasn't huge before Switch, but once it hit Switch and then crossplay happened, it was like holy crap.
Nuts. It was nuts.
Now they're suing Apple.
Yeah,
I don't have the brain power to tackle that topic. It's just super complicated.
If you want to hear about that one, check out Co-op Mode because Mark and Todd are all on top of that one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So, but then we got this indie world event that went down, right? So that's where I kind of was leading in with the whole Direct. I hope that because we got the indie world thing, the Nintendo Direct comes behind it. Was there anything in this indie world event that like got you excited?
Well, A Short Hike is one that I think looked really great, and it's this. Apparently, it's very Zelda-like. It's very like Breath of the Wild, and you just fly around like a little bird. You would hate it.
Yeah.
I feel like these indie directs are never like your cup of tea.
No,
they're
not.
Almost never, unless there's something by like Zoink or Image and Form or one of like the kind of the regular kind of players.
Yeah.
But I feel like none of these are really like your jam. But Garrett Bland speaks very highly about Spiritfarer.
Spiritfarer, I've heard very good things about. Basically, I've heard people saying like, if you like Animal Crossing, this is a game you should check out. Because it's basically you can like design your boat or whatever and move the rooms around and stuff.
Yeah.
Garden Story looked kind of cool. Garden Story, really, as crazy as it sounds, it reminded me of It'll Do a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's so cutesy.
Yeah,
sure.
and it's like almost like a top-down Zelda type game. But Torchlight 3, I want to play that.
Yeah, we should do that. That's a Diablo-like.
Yeah, man. Except for I heard it like. Unlike Diablo, where you have to run back to sell gear and stuff, you have animals and pets that you can send back for you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so you can just send the pets back to go sell your gear, and then they come back to you when they're done. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot that, like... The one thing that I think I was impressed about was something that Nintendo did on this that's totally different. Is, one, a lot of games were playable now
today,
which was huge, and then the other thing was they got a lot of like console exclusives, like timed exclusives, and that's something that they never do. So it's like
that's the battle against Game Pass.
Yeah,
it has to be, because like so many of these games, and there was one game I think, actually speaking of Spiritfarer, that is on Game Pass. There's a couple of these games that have that launch right into Game Pass as well.
Yeah.
And so everybody else has got to figure out how to like battle that, because I look at this list and go, great, cool. Probably most of these come into Game Pass, so I actually avoid spending money on them.
The one that has me excited is Hades.
Hades looks cool. It's always looked cool.
Super Giant Games, they do such a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you've never played Transistor, and then what's the other one?
I think Bastion was the other
Bastion was the other one. Those games are really, really good. And
there's another one. Did they do Pyre as well? I think they did Pyre.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
P-Y-R-E, yeah.
But this is more of that. Only. And it's pretty cool how they do it. Like it's you're running around, you're fighting stuff. The level kind of like falls ahead of the sky as you're walking, and really cool looking, man. Cool aesthetics and stuff. Great.
That's how they kicked it off, yeah.
Yeah, it's really like great, like internalized dialogue that seems to be happening as the story's being told, and they do such a good job, man. I love it. I love that.
There was a game at the end. I don't know if you caught the end of it. There was a game called Evergate at the end.
Yes.
And I can't remember where this one was made. I almost don't want to misspeak if I'm wrong about this. But it looks like a total ripoff of Ori. It looks so similar to Ori, it's ridiculous. But like, still looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I wondered if there was a mistake made. Like, I don't know if people are expecting an Ori game to come over to Switch, because the first game came over.
Yeah.
And if you remember, the Xbox had another Ori game came out earlier this year.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, this is kind of Ori. Like, I don't know how you feel about something like that, because it is so close.
Yeah. I think that I'm not a fan of Ori. We know this. I don't know what it is about the game. I'm just not a fan of it. Maybe because I didn't like this is the one thing that I hated about it, was I felt like as you're platforming, I didn't like the idea of like the camera panning way back and then going in tight and then back and then tight. Because for me, as I'm trying to make these jumps and figure out where I'm going, I didn't like that when the camera would pan back, because I'm like, I need to make these jumps and they need to be precise, and I can't make the jumps sometimes because it's pulling back and then pulling in. And I don't know, just something about it didn't grip me the way.
Yeah.
And maybe the problem was I let the hype get to me, where everybody was just raving about it, and I was just like,
when somebody says this is the best game ever made, or you have people like me and Jared going like, this might be perfect.
Yeah.
You're like, no, it isn't. Like, and of course, no game is perfect.
Yeah, no.
But yeah. Unreachable standards.
And I like we said, to circle back to what we said, is I think we hold everything up to Mario.
Yeah.
And to me, Mario, on a lot of those games, are perfect. There's more perfect Mario games than there aren't. So it's always this weird thing where you're trying to like balance this thing and who's better than who, you know? So it's always a tough juggling act, I feel, overall.
Well, they did a great thing after this Indie Direct, which was, and I've been screaming about this forever, this is about as close as I've seen anybody get to it, but they had a sale. Right after it was done, they said, go, and they had a little thing on the, like when you sign on your Switch, whatever the news or the feature thing was, it's like, here are the games. I'm like, thank you. Because I got excited the entire time, but they never really give you this clear way to go, like, how can I throw money at this? How can I buy these games in a nice, easy way? I'd have to, like, memorize the games, which really isn't the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But make it nice and easy. Like, connect the online experience, the YouTube video that I'm looking at, connect it to my Switch. Like, that it's showing the exact same thing. And it's like, here are the games. You get a discount for being here on day one. And indie games for sure have this way of, it looks great, and you want to capture people like right then and there, I feel. Bigger games have a way of like having a bit more gravity and more attention. People will pay attention to those longer, but it's very rare in the volume of indie games. There's just so many indie games that like you might remember like one or two for a long period of time. But most games, I think I even challenge people now, like it's been a couple of days since this thing launched, like for other people to go pick your top 3 or 4 from that thing.
It's hard.
Right? Like most people probably can. They probably can't remember that Evergate was the last one.
I think part of the biggest issue too is like there's so many games.
Right.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you watch a Nintendo Direct and there's a new IP, it's easier to know that new IP because there's only one amongst it, maybe 2 or 3. This one, here's 15.
Yeah, they're all new.
And they're all new. You never heard of them before, and it's like it takes a little bit to kind of get a little bearing about who is what and where and all that. But like, you know, there's a few that I'm looking at that I'm like, I'm going to pick them up when they hit. You know, it's the one thing, and I was saying this. I kind of thought it's crazy. I kind of thought that when this got announced, this Indie World thing, I thought, okay, Image Informer's going to be there with that gunk game.
Yeah.
And they weren't.
No, I think that's just Xbox, man.
And I think that that's a situation of Damon Baker leaving Nintendo.
Interesting.
Because I know for a fact that Brian and Damon are close.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that when they left, when he left Nintendo, I believe that they had a conversation and he brought that game over too.
Yeah, man.
It just makes sense.
It totally makes sense. I mean, part of it is, like, could it be... I mean, it looks like it probably could run on Switch. I guess everything can run on Switch.
Yeah.
But so part of me, I kind of, like, abandoned that thought midway through.
They're
maybe it can't run on Switch.
They're very good at that. You know what I mean? Like, because when they build games... I didn't know this. When they build the games, they were building the games for the weakest console first. And then building up.
Interesting.
They weren't... So that way... If it can run here, we know it can run there.
Right, you just pile on top of it rather than pare down.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, because, we were... our Donnie Reese, he got a review copy for PGA Tour 2K21 on Xbox, but then he bought it on Switch because he loves golf games and he's insane like that. But he was sharing some screenshots of that, and it's like... It's pretty rough. I don't think they took the exact same approach. I don't think they started with Switch on there.
No, they don't.
It's pretty rough.
They don't.
Yeah.
And that's... we were talking about before when we first got here, we were talking about, the WWE game, Battlegrounds, is coming out. And that has me very nervous. Will that run good on the Switch? And I don't know, because they struggle. 2K struggles with the Switch. The last WWE game they had on the Switch, it did not move. The thing dropped to 10 frames per second. It was so bad. That
last one was a bit of a gong show across the board. Yeah. Like all this, but even the one before that. But I mean, it's good that they've been there. And even with like the remasters that they did with XCOM and then Borderlands and BioShock as well. That's great. Yeah. Those are all last console type of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things. It's that double-edged sword of like, we've all been wanting, developers and publishers to take the extra effort to make their games work on Switch. So like, great. But at the same time, it's like, ugh. Like I even just saw the other day, I think it was it Private Division who does it for the Outer Worlds. Mm-hmm. They're like, yeah, we're working on a patch for Switch. It's still coming. And it's like, you could have delayed the game. Like there was really no.
The game was already not day and date.
Exactly. It was what, 9 or 10 months later.
And then you delayed it on top of that for COVID. Mm-hmm. Like, just delay it. Just push it back. It's ridiculous.
So hopefully, I don't know, man. Like, should we start? I feel like we should start like something in the community. Like, pick your day for the next Nintendo Direct. Put a little like $2 on it. Everybody puts it into like a jackpot or something. We should do something like that.
Yeah.
Pick your whatever the next one is. This is something we could do like all year round.
This isn't having a baby. Like, let's pick the baby.
Well, basically, exactly. Nobody has this many babies in a year. But you could probably do it like throughout the year. And then whenever the Direct happens,
I'm pretty sure
you just like clear out the jackpot.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal. What you just came up with.
I don't think it is.
It's gambling. I'm not going to jail. All right, I'm not going to jail.
It's $2.
We're no. Just stop it. You can't.
I'll look into it. I'm sure it's allowed.
It's not allowed. We're not doing it. I'm not going to jail.
We need some legal advice here, man.
Exactly. And you're not the person that's giving me legal advice. I'm not going to jail for $2.
It's available to Canada only and not residents of Quebec. That's always the way those things are here.
Is it?
It's like available to any resident in Canada except Quebec. And it's like, damn, man, what did they do? It sucks.
Well,
sucks for them.
They speak French.
They have their own contest, I guess.
They speak French and nobody likes that, so that's the problem.
It's got to be something else. I don't think that's it.
Probably not. I
don't think that's it, man.
Good to me. Is there anything that you hope like gets launched, or like is there something this year that would get you fired up for the Switch?
Well, I don't know if it's going to happen this year, but everybody's talking about next year is the 35th anniversary for Zelda. And so a lot of people are talking and thinking, and I think there's a couple of like Amazon listings or something showing up for Skyward Sword. Doing a little something. So,
I saw that.
Like we've talked about Skyward Sword a lot in the years that we've been chatting, but with Wind Waker, everything that I've heard about that is that because they can't play because of inverted, right? But they fixed a lot of the quality of life stuff. And I think that there's a massive amount of work that could be done that could really, really improve my time with Skyward Sword. Because I think it's a gorgeous game. I think the story is great. They could just like put a big block over Groose and just like get him out of there. That would be amazing. But the flying, like make it a little bit more interesting or shorter or whatever it is. Like there's a lot of stuff. And the dousing was a little bit strange. You could get rid of some of the motion control. Remember the doubt where you're kind of sensing stuff as you're kind of pointing around and trying to find things. So things like that, but that could definitely get me excited, which is kind of typical Nintendo fan stuff. Where it's just like, yeah, give me old games and I guess I'll be excited about that. It's like nothing, I don't want anything else. Everything else coming to Game Pass.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Because 2 weeks ago, people were so mad that Pikmin 3 got announced.
Well, it's just because like that's it. But you're
I know.
right. Like it's exactly the same thing. If this was it,
Yeah.
and like is that fine? But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, so if you like take the hinges off, it's like, yeah, I want the next Odyssey game. You know, I want to see like when does like Breath of the Wild 2 come out and things like that. I want Star Fox. I want Star Fox to come back and be revived and all those things.
I honestly would be all about Wind Waker coming to the Switch.
Yeah.
I played it on the GameCube when it originally launched. I beat it on the Wii. I never beat it on the GameCube. I beat it on the Wii. I mean the Wii U. And and I love that game.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely loved that game.
I seriously might have to figure out this inverted controls.
That
like
game
I want to play it. That's
so
I love
good.
that Link. Toon Link is so awesome.
So good, dude. It's so good, man. You're literally playing a Disney Pixar cartoon.
Yeah.
You're not Pixar, but you're playing a Disney cartoon.
Yeah.
It is
so
so unbelievable, man. I don't know. But listen, my mom's here to pick me up, so.
Oh, where are you going?
Just stop, man.
All right, man. Well, I'll see you later.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you for listening to A Cuppa Joe Nintendo, a production of the You, Me, and Capri Patreon. If you like the show, you can support them at patreon.com/YouMeCapri. A Cuppa Joe Nintendo is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and all of your other podcast services. Be sure to follow Bobby and Nintendo Gurus on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. For everything that Sean does on the internet, follow him on Twitter at Sean Capri. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Also, twitch.tv Sean Capri. That is all. Peace out, Preston.